Hi students, good morning to all. Today we are going to discuss about genital nervous system, under that nephrotic syndrome. So it is one of the common cause for hospitalization among the children. It mostly affects 2 to 7% of children among 1,000 live births. It is more commonly affected male child, and the occurrence of age is 2 to 5 years. Definition: nephrotic syndrome is a complex symptom manifested by massive edema, hypoalbuminemia, marked albuminuria, and hyperlipidemia. So it is a syndrome. Syndrome is nothing but group of symptoms. So it is a syndrome which has 4 important manifestations of such as massive edema, hypoalbuminemia, marked albuminuria, and hyperlipidemia. The classification of nephrotic syndrome are congenital nephrotic syndrome, idiopathic or primary nephrotic syndrome, secondary nephrotic syndrome, and infantile nephrotic syndrome. Let us see one by one. Congenital nephrotic syndrome. It occurs rarely, but it is very serious among babies and fatal problems usually associated with other congenital abnormalities of the kidney. So it is an autosomal recessive disease. This will cause severe renal insufficiency and urinary infections along the condition, which results in poor prognosis among the children. The second type is known as idiopathic or primary nephrotic syndrome. This is the most commonest form. It is about 90% of children are affected with this primary nephrotic syndrome. This is caused due to the autoimmune deficiency. Then the child will be response to the immunosuppressive therapy. So this can be divided into 3 types. Minimal change nephrotic syndrome. 85% of cases will be develop this minimal change nephrotic syndrome, and 5% of children will be affected with proliferative nephrotic syndrome. 10% of cases will be affected with the focal sclerosis nephrotic syndrome. The third type is known as secondary nephrotic syndrome. 10% of cases will be affected with the secondary nephrotic syndrome. The causes for secondary nephrotic syndrome are chronic glomerulonephritis are due to diabetes mellitus. If the child is having a condition of systemic lupus erythematosus, malaria, malignant hypertension, hepatitis B, infective endocarditis, drug toxicity, lymphomas, and syphilis. So due to this condition, there may be a chance for developing a secondary nephrotic syndrome. The fourth is known as infantile nephrotic syndrome. The term is applied to nephrotic syndrome that is mainly occurs in infants between the age group of 4 to 12 months. The major causes NPHS2. That is during mutation, the NPHS2 will be mutated. So this will cause a steroid resistant nephrotic syndrome in the infants. This second is diffuse mesangial sclerosis. The etiology for nephrotic syndrome are 2: primary renal cause and systemic causes. The primary renal causes are minimal change in the nephropathy, glomerulosclerosis, acute post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, immune complex glomerulonephritis are the primary cause for nephrotic syndrome. The systemic causes are if the child is exposed to any infections, toxins such as mercury, gold, bismuth. Then if the child is having a allergic for bee sting, inhaled pollen or any type of food allergy. The cardiovascular disease, especially congestive cardiac failure, sickle cell disease, renal vein thrombosis, and leukemic children. The other causes are systemic lupus erythematosus and anaphylactic purpura. So these are the systemic cause for nephrotic syndrome. Pathophysiology. So due to the cause, either it may be a primary or secondary, which causes damage in the glomerular capillary membrane. So due to the damaged capillary membrane, which causes loss of plasma protein, that is albumin. So due to the loss of plasma protein, which stimulates synthesis of lipoproteins. Due to the synthesis of lipoproteins, this causes hypolipidemia. The other part, due to the loss of plasma protein albumin, which leads to hypoalbuminemia. So this albumin is necessary to maintain the oncotic pressure. So when there is decreased albumin in the plasma, so this causes decreased oncotic pressure. So due to this decreased oncotic pressure, which leads to generalized edema among the child. So due to the decreased oncotic pressure, which activate the renin-angiotensin system. This renin-angiotensin system helps to maintain the sodium content in our body. So due to the activation of the renin-angiotensin system, which causes sodium retention in the body. So due to the sodium retention, which leads to massive edema. In clinical manifestations, there are 4 cardinal signs: massive edema, hypoalbuminemia, marked albuminuria, hyperlipidemia. These are the most important clinical features among the nephrotic syndrome children. Then the child will develop a periorbital puffiness as soon as get up in the morning. Then it will be starts reducing in the daytime. Then edema may be minimal or massive. Due to the edema, the child will be develop a more weight within a shorter period of duration. So the edema will be especially in the ankle, feet, genitalia and hand. So the type of edema is pitting edema. That is, edematous part becomes soft and pits easily on pressure. That is called as a pitting edema. So due to the overweight, the child may develop a striae on the skin due to overstretching by edema. There is a fluid accumulation in the body space which may lead to ascites, pleural effusion, and the child may develop a respiratory distress. So due to the fluid accumulation, the generalized edema will be occur. Reduction in the urinary excretion output. Then the child may develop a GI disturbance such as vomiting, loss of appetite and diarrhea. The other features include the child feels more tired, that is fatigue, lethargy, pallor, irritability, hypertension, hematuria, hepatomegaly, and wasting of muscle. Also, we can see in some cases. Diagnostic evaluation. So, palpation. The kidney cannot be palpable because the child have developed a edema and ascites. Then we have to go for a 24 hours urine analysis. This shows the child will have a proteinuria more than 3.5 gram per liter per 24 hours. Then blood test, which shows elevated blood urea nitrogen level, serum creatinine, and the serum protein level will be decreased. We go for a lipid profile. This shows increase in the serum cholesterol level, that is more than 200 mg. Then comprehensive metabolic panel, which shows that hypoalbuminemia, that is albumin level will be less than 2.5 gram per dl. Then we can go for a biopsy of kidney. We can take a renal ultrasound and renal scan to know the damage, and we can go for an intravenous urogram for a confirmatory diagnosis. Coming to the management, so the medical management is reduction of protein excretion. So again, we found that it is due to streptococcal glomerulonephritis, the child may develop a nephrotic syndrome as a cause. So we have to treat the child with the penicillin. Drug of choice is penicillin. Otherwise, the child will be treated with the corticosteroids. That is, prednisolone is the drug of choice. The dosage is 2 mg per kg per day. Orally, we have to give for 6 weeks in a divided doses. After that, the drug dosage has to be reduced as 1.5 mg per kg as a single dose on alternative days for 6 weeks. After that, the treatment has to be discontinued by seeing the level of protein. So proteinuria disappears within the first week of therapy, and if we go for a negative dipstick test for 2 consecutive days, that is today and tomorrow, that is called as 2 consecutive days, shows positive response to treatment. Then if the child, majority of the child, they may develop a relapsing, that is reoccurrence of nephrotic syndrome. So frequent relapse are treated by using a alkylating agents such as cyclophosphamide, that is 2 mg per kg per day for 12 weeks, nitrogen ester, cyclosporine, or levonosal is the drug of choice, can be used to treat the relapse. Then we have to administer diuretics to reduce the edema and increase the urinary excretion. Then salt poor albumin may be indicated in presence of severe edema. So furosemide is the drug of choice, which will be given as a diuretic. The dosage is 2 mg per kg per day in a divided dose has to be prescribed. The complications are edema, infections, thrombotic complications, hypovolemia, acute renal failure, and steroid toxicity. Nursing management. First, we have to assess the child edema status. So, assess and document the location and character of patient's edema. So, nephrotic syndrome child have a pitting edema in the ankle, scrotum, and hand. Then measure the blood pressure. So, one of the symptoms is hypertension. So, blood pressure has to be monitored when the child is lying as well as in the standing position. If it is more than 20 mm of HCF systolic and diastolic pressure, so immediately we have to report to the physician. Then strictly we have to monitor the intake and output chart. Every day morning, as soon as the patient wakes and before taking breakfast, we should check the weight, and we have to confirm that every day the child is wearing the same weight cloth. Then we have to plan a low sodium diet with a moderate amount of protein. Then urine analysis has to be done for the presence of protein. Then monitor plasma, albumin and transferrin concentrations to evaluate the overall nutritional status of the child. Then provide proper skin care because the child is having a pitting edema. Then to prevent the occurrence of thrombophlebitis, so advise the child to go for a activity, exercise and provide a anti-embolism stockings. Then give the patient and family reassurance and support, especially during the acute phase when the edema is severe and the patient body may changes. The nursing diagnosis. The possible nursing diagnosis for nephrotic syndrome patients are impaired tissue perfusion related to decreased glomerular permeability, fluid and electrolyte excess related to edema, impaired skin integrity related to disease progress, then imbalanced nutritional status less than body requirement related to anorexia, impaired kidney functions related to decreased glomerular permeability, risk for infection related to immunosuppressive drugs, knowledge deficit related to disease process. So fluid and electrolyte, the nursing care has to be provide a rest, comfortable position to the child, and every 2 hours once we have to change the position of the child. Then the dietary pattern has to be low salt with high protein. Then administer the corticosteroid which is prescribed by the physician, offering the potassium containing food, that is orange juice and banana has to be given to the child, and restrict the fluid intake according to the physician's order. Then monitor strict IO chart and body weight every day. Then urine has to be tested for the albumin. Then risk for infection related to immunosuppressive drugs. Examine the child if the child is having any infections or any complications. So every day we have to monitor the TPR, then monitoring the blood count, provide proper skin care and keep the nails short, preventing any injury to the edematous skin. Teach the mother regarding the skin care and signs of infections and involving the mother during the care of the child. An imbalanced nutritional status related to anorexia provides small frequent diet which contains protein and carbohydrate, considering dietary restriction of the child and likes and dislikes. Then providing nutritional supplementation as needed. Encourage the child to take adequate amount of food. Then impaired family process support due to hospitalization. So we have to provide a psychological support, allow the parents to provide care for the child, allowing play therapy and self-care as much tolerance of the child, encourage the child to have interactions, answering the questions asked by the parents and children, and allowing them to express their frustrations. A knowledge deficit about caring the child and medical management. So we have to improve the knowledge of the parents and the child about the child care by giving a proper teaching. So we have to discuss about the care at home level regarding the rest, diet, hygiene, continuation of medications, and when they have to seek medical advice, then follow up. And we have to teach about the sites of injections, signs of, sorry, we have to teach about the infections, signs of relapse, and precautions to be followed to prevent the complications. Then we have to provide a patient teaching at home level care. If patient receives immunosuppression, that is prednisolone as a drug of choice, teach the family members as well as the child regarding the signs of infection, Suppose if the patient is receiving a long-term corticosteroid therapy, teach him and family members to report when the child feels muscle weakness or any mental changes. Then if the child is having a gastrointestinal disturbances, loss of appetite, diarrhea, then immediately we have to ask the patient to take a steroids with the antacid, that is with cimetidine or ranitidine. Explain about the adverse effects, that is side effects of steroids, subside when the therapy stops. But we have to intimate them or warn them without the physician consent. The corticosteroid drug should not be discontinued. We have to emphasize about the special diet because the child have a edema. If the physician prescribes an anti-embolism stockings to prevent the thrombophlebitis, so we have to show how to use the anti-embolism stockings and how safely we have to apply and remove. The technique has to be explained to them. Thank you for listening to this topic. I hope you all will understand.